and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter. Get the value you need and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and we are so happy to have you here. Our show today is Aging Gracefully with Humor. We are going to explore home healthcare options as well as discussing how we can stay young at heart. Joining me is my co-host and friend, CATHY FULTON. Let's welcome her. Hello,
Good morning.
welcome. Nice to see you.
It's good to see you bright and early.
Yes, and I want our audience to know that you and I actually met in person. Imagine that, an in-person meeting. How did you feel about it?
Oh, I was so excited. I had looked forward to it for months. And I mean it was for a great cause. We were at the Crohn's and Colitis walk. And I mean, but maybe the viewers don't know, but my mom was diagnosed with colitis back in 2006, and then I have two dogs, and I had that were diagnosed with it a year ago, Gabby and Sophie. I had no idea that animals could have this condition, this disease, and so like I said, it was for a great cause, and I met so many nice people. But it was so great to see you in person and get to talk with you. And I mean, the time went by so fast, though. I really didn't feel like I got to talk to you long enough.
I agree with you. It just flew by. And it's so funny. Right here on my computer, I have this Inspired, Brave, Determined Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. So it's a big
There you
part of my
go.
life. We just had a board meeting last night, and it's interesting when we talk about aging gracefully with humor. Each and every one of us, if we're lucky to still be here, is going to have something happen to us, and how we deal with it, how we show up, makes a big difference. And I think a big part of what's helped me, having ulcerative colitis since 1991, is getting involved and giving back. But I didn't even start doing it until 2018. I wasn't involved at all. And now that I am, I just feel so much different about my condition. And I feel that people live in isolation because they were given a diagnosis or they're feeling a certain way. And when you actually reach out and get into a community of other people going through a similar situation, it feels totally different.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine like, for example, what my mom goes through when she has these outbreaks. I can't imagine what you go through, but just listening to everyone and trying to help her get through, because I mean, hers will last for weeks on end. I mean, it's just relentless. And I just feel so bad for her. And but along the way, we've tried to discover different foods and just different tricks. And I mean, we've tried everything. But I do agree with you. When you surround yourself with others that are going through the same thing, just like it's just like a support group. um Sometimes you'll walk away going, "Well, I thought I had it bad, but they have it really bad." And that's it kind of puts perspective in you, or gives you perspective, or it does me, and then elevates my gratitude. I don't know, but everybody everybody's different.
Well, and I think also, until you shared with me about your little furry friends having this disease, I didn't even know that dogs could have it. So you're well aware of it because you have to take care of three human animals that are going through this, and that's not easy to do either. So it must affect you in a lot of ways, and many times being a caregiver can age us right? Because there's so much stress involved. So before we go down that path, I just want to spotlight you, Kathy. And for people who are joining us for the first time, they know about your interior design business, but they might not know about your home healthcare business. So tell us more, please.
Yeah. Well, I started my home care agency back in 2013, and it was all the impetus was my mom. Long story short, she was up visiting me from Texas and had two strokes back to back. And so I was really just left to take care of her. And I wanted to, but that's when you haven't really ever done that, it's a very daunting task. But you figure it out just like everything else. But I tried to find care. I tried to connect with agencies for support, and there just seemed to be a huge disconnect. And so like I said, I learned what other people would need that were in this set of circumstances. And so I just decided that I'm going to start my own agency. And so I got licensed. I did not purchase a franchise. I started my own gig, and we just started from there. And we do offer hourly care, but it has to be like at least a minimum of 8 hours, just because in order to cover gas prices, quite frankly. But we also do offer live-in care as well. So it is a great alternative to assisted living, because some people that's a great fit because they can sell their home, they can have just a different way of life. But then there's the whole other side of the fence where people don't want to leave their home, they don't want to have to sell their things, they don't want to have to put their pets in a different place. And so this is a great option, and it is growing exponentially on a daily basis. So if you have a family member that could use some at-home care and would prefer to age in place, I would love to help you.
Thanks, Kathy. I love how you say you couldn't get the results or the information you need, so you just decided to do it yourself. It's just and it's not that simple. I'd love you to walk us through what that process was like as a business owner.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, there as everything or as anything, I needed to do research and just see what is the lay of the land for this type of business. And so the first thing that popped up were franchises. Okay. So that was a couple of month process, just getting them on the phone, getting them to talk with me, and then realizing the financial risk that I would be putting myself at, because all of them were going to require at least five, if not six figures. And then on top of that, and it's no secret, if you purchase a franchise, 99% of the time you're going to have to give 6% of your gross profit to the franchise. And so I just looked at their business models, and as to where I had a great deal of respect for it, and I got where they were coming from. I just wasn't willing to fork out, what I knew was going to be six figures, and then give 6% of the gross profit, because that's my those that's my hard-earned work right there. But everybody has a different mindset, but that just wasn't a fit for me. So what I did was I made more calls, and I drilled down, drilled down, drilled down to find out, how can I start this myself? And I finally connected with a previous business owner she was an RN, and she had started her own years ago. And so I hired her as my consultant. And so, like, that was back in 2013. But for $8,000 and almost a year of work, I started my own home care agency. But you have to write all these policies, all these procedures, and then you have to basically be vetted by the state, and just getting on their calendar is a process in itself. So, I mean, look, I always say that anything that you want to do, if it's like lickety split quick, it's probably not legal. And so every sometimes it takes time to earn money, right? So, but it's been well worth it. Well worth it. I learned an inordinate amount of all the do's and don'ts, and yeah, it's paid off. It's a lot of fun, actually, to help people stay where they are and age in place, because they really don't want to leave. I don't want to leave my home. I mean, I'll be 57 in August, and I've thought long and hard, and I will do everything that I can not to have to leave my house.
What an incredible journey you've been on. And first of all, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Six figures versus $8,000. That's amazing. Amazing. And the 6% that you would have given up. So it just goes to show that if you take those extra steps and do the research, that something better might be there, as opposed to just taking the first thing that comes along. And the fact that you had to apply with the state, and what was that process like, in addition to the time element?
Well, just to get on their calendar, like, that's one of the first things that we did, was get on their calendar, even though all of my policies and procedures were not complete yet. Um, and I did that because it was a 9-month waiting process. So now, with all the COVID backlog, I have no idea how long it could take to actually get your license from the state. Um, so, and I mean, without my consultant, I would not have known that. But the other thing that I'll say about franchises are, I mean, like, you have to make a pros and cons column if you're going to, I guess, go into any business venture, deciding which path is the best for you. So, of course, the franchise is going to have all their marketing in place, all of their everything in place. But one thing that I noticed right up front, and I just felt that they were very top heavy, and they were going to require, it wasn't an option, it was a requirement that you had all these people to take care of all these different things, where I was like, okay, look, I'm going to be basically a party of one or two, meaning having an RN on staff, but my RN is not going to do all the marketing. She's not going to really fine tune the policies and procedures. And so, just particularly in this economy, and the climate that we are living in or looking at, depending again on your point of view, if you're thinking about starting a business like this, you really need to take those things into consideration, because I mean, for me, that was just going to be an outrageous payroll, and I just was not willing to put myself in that kind of financial risk. So, but it's a personal decision.
Well, thanks again for sharing that. And it's just so incredible how many dimensions you have as a person and as a business owner.
I'm always thinking.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how to be happy at heart. What are some of the things that you do on a regular basis to keep your happiness?
Well, I start out my day every morning. Joe and I, we have coffee in bed, and so, but then from there, I have I pray every day, and um, but my prayers are always along the lines of Thanksgiving, because my belief is I've already asked him once, and I know that he heard me. And so then I'm just thanking him for everything that I know he's going to, whether it's answer or work it out in his way that's best for me. So it's prayers of thanksgiving. And so when I get that mindset first thing in the morning, that helps me until I get the first negative email. so, but that's what I do. It just I feel like whatever is going on up here is so critical, and it's got to be positive in order for you to have a positive day. But that's what I do. How about you? What's something that you do to get yourself going in the right direction?
I do a lot of positive affirmations, prayers as well. I'm truly grateful just to wake up and I can see and I can hear and I can walk and I can move. And I drink water all through the day, every day. I used to be obsessed with iced tea and I gave it up over 3.5 years ago, and I don't drink any caffeine. So it's just water, water, water all day, which is good. Vitamins, 8 hours of sleep. And I also eat much better than I ever did before. I'm really not looking at food as entertainment. I'm looking at it as a way of having longevity and giving my body what it needs to do the work that it needs to do. And I also have been doing intermittent fasting for about 2.5 months. And so I
Oh my
don't eat
gosh.
for a minimum of 12 to 16 hours every day. It depends. And so I only eat 2 meals. So I feel much better than I've ever felt before.
Really? So, I mean, can you elaborate on the fasting? Because this is my thing. If I don't eat, like at least I would say every 4 to 6 hours, I start getting lightheaded. I really can't concentrate very well. And so, and then I also have, it's self-diagnosed, but it seems to be like hypoglycemia. And so even if I don't sit down and have a full meal at that point, I will have like some protein, and that seems to help. But so just my own personal experience of I feel like I'm going to pass out. I mean, I have great admiration for you. How do you do that? How do you fast?
Well, I have to say that a lot of it has to do with the fact that I have ulcerative colitis and I have facial eczema and scalp psoriasis. That I just listened to what some of our team members were saying about slowing down your digestive process, because if your intestines, your colon, if it doesn't have to work as much, then it's not going to be breaking down quickly, as quickly, I would say. So when I first started doing it, I just mentally said to myself, you're going to be hungry, you're going to have cravings, but you can do this. And then the first Saturday that I actually walked 3.5 miles, and then I went to my favorite solid core, got a workout. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. By the time I ate, it was probably 2:30. And I thought, wow, I stopped. I didn't have anything since yesterday, whatever time. And I was already at 16 hours. So I got through day one. And it's like right now, I'm hungry. My stomach is growling. I feel a little off, but I have not given myself permission to break the rule that I set for myself. So I just mentally don't even go there. Now, I did, as I mentioned to you, I got my blood test back after 4 years of not checking my blood, and everything was great. Now, if something was off and it wasn't perfect, then maybe I would speak to a doctor before I would do it. But I just felt like I don't, with ulcerative colitis, it's so mentally draining thinking about just right now. Let's say if I was in a flare, I'd be here, but I really wouldn't be here because I'd be like, how am I going to get to the bathroom? Am I going to have enough time to get? And I don't want to deal with that because I've had issues last year, and I thought, no, it's better for me anyway not to have anything to eat, and then I don't have to have these conversations with myself.
Wow. So so basically the fasting, if I'm understanding the takeaway, the fasting has really helped control your ulcerative colitis.
Yes, I would say that's the case because my digestive system, it doesn't have to work as much. So let's say I wake up and I immediately have something to eat, which is what I used to do. Or if I had to leave the house, I would get up at 3 or 4 in the morning, have something to eat so I could get sick so that I could leave the house. Well, now I've just eliminated all of that because I haven't had anything to eat. And with the water, uh, your body is made up mostly of water, so it needs water. As soon as you wake up, it needs water. But what many people do is they give it caffeine, and it doesn't need caffeine because then you start your system going on overload. And I didn't think I'd be able to give up caffeine, and I don't even miss it. And I just recently again gave up sugar. I think it's about a month now, and I was off sugar for years. And then I was in the grocery store and I saw the chocolate covered pretzels. I was like, "Oh, I'm coming to you. I'm getting you." And I would eat them and I'd be like, "Oh, 130 calories. Okay, 100." And I think to myself, "Okay, that's 390." Then I was eating cookies. So I said to myself, "Okay, you already ate 600 calories of sugar. Now what are you going to do to work it off?" So then I put extra pressure on myself that I had to do another hour plus of. It's ridiculous. So I just stopped doing all of it. And now my body is very happy with me.
Oh, that's great. Well, when I started down the journey of menopause, um, I noticed like early on that if I ate sugar, then I would have I mean, just a serious hot flash. I mean, like I felt like I was burning from the inside out, just an inferno. And so, I mean, and I'm really not exaggerating. And so I cut that out, and it also helped with my sleep. But, I mean, I will splurge every now and then, but I have kind of come to the conclusion that I really, if I'm going to eat sugar, if I'm going to do it and feel bad the rest of the day, I need to do it in like around lunchtime or something because it stays, I guess it just doesn't metabolize. I don't metabolize it quickly, and then it affects my sleep. And my sleep is intermittent as it is just because of waking up with my mom every night in the night. And, so I kind of have to figure it out. Um, but anyway, so that's the whole fasting thing is fascinating, really. I mean,
It's
I'll have to try that more with my mom and see if that helps.
definitely, I think it will help. And by the way, it's pouring here. So if you hear something, it's the rain is pouring down. But yeah, so in addition to helping me in many ways with my ulcerative colitis, I feel like giving up the sugar, which is huge because sugar causes inflammation. So if you already have inflammation in your body and then you're giving it more sugar, you're not doing yourself a service. And I noticed also, I'm 59. I think when I turned 57, that my skin started to change. And I can only imagine it's from menopause. But when I eat sugar, I could actually see like lines in my skin that I knew were directly related to that. When I stopped eating the sugar, they went away. Not like
You're
wrinkles. I don't know.
kidding.
No, I don't know how to explain it. But the sugar, my one of my aunts, she passed away from cancer, and she hired a chef to cook all of her meals. And the first thing that they told her was no more sugar. And I never forgot that. And she got an extra 3 years of life, I think, because of what she was eating. So I really think there is something to be said about what we're putting in our body to help us age more gracefully or not.
Yeah. Well, to that point, I think that, um, I see a lot of truth in that. Um, and a lot of people are always talking about losing weight but they won't give up things like gravies and sauces and my thing is the cleaner that you eat, meaning like if you're going to put something on your plate and then you finish eating and you're going to rinse off your plate and put it in the dishwasher. I say you need to know that you're eating clean and low calorie, things that where you could really almost just take a paper towel and put it in the dishwasher. That means you're eating clean. And that's a really great path. It's great for your cholesterol. It's great for an inordinate amount of inordinate amount of things within your body. But people just they still want to stick with all the bad stuff and just eat it in smaller amounts. And I get that, but you're I think you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. And but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you, especially. I love that you brought this up. When you take your plate and you go to put it in the dishwasher, if there's stuff stuck on it, what's stuck inside of you as a result of what you ate?
Yes.
It's so true.
Yes.
And salad dressings, for example, I don't use salad dressing at all. I use olive oil. Salad dressings have all kinds of sugar and chemicals. I'm not saying all of them, but if you read the ingredients, it's kind of like, wow, what am I putting onto this beautiful organic lettuce, tomatoes, whatever it is that you're having in a salad? And it's the same thing with a lot of the condiments that people use to put on something. They're loaded with chemicals and with sugar, and you're
Sugar.
doing so well by taking the right steps to what you're putting in your body. Why do you have to put this other stuff on top of it?
Right. And that is an absolute point that I always think about. It's like, okay, if it takes forever to get this off the plate, imagine how long it's going to take to get this off my legs or my
Very true.
or my or my stomach. I mean, it's just that I don't think that people make that connection very frequently. And but it's hard. It's hard to give up the breads. It's hard to give up the just all the stuff that tastes so good. But yeah, and if you also look at like on the menus, so many times they will have the calorie count next to them. Okay, so if you look at a salad and then compare it to a burger, it's like, well, I may as well just go ahead and eat the burger because the salad, by the time I put the salad, this is the calories with the salad dressing. It's like that's 900 calories. The burger is 750. So why not really enjoy not really enjoy myself, you know?
But try it
Um,
without the salad dressing and just use olive oil.
right. And you have 0 calories basically then.
Well, the olive oil has calories, but it's also good for you in many ways.
Right. It's a good
So
yeah, it's a
I
good
think
fat.
one change that I really embraced, and I mentioned a little bit earlier, is looking at food differently. So I grew up in a family where we would dine. It was not sit down and eat your food and that's it. It's this is an event. This is everyone together. We're going to spend hours talking, especially if you went out to a restaurant. My dad would be like to the server, please don't come over and ask for our order. We are relaxing. This is going to be a long night. And we would close out the restaurant many times. And so I that's how I looked at food that was part of entertainment. But now I'm looking at it in a different way. It's not an event, it's substance. It's what we need to fill the machine. And if we keep putting garbage in the machine, how can we expect the machine to run at the premium level? It's like putting, if your car needs premium gas and you put regular gas in it, no, it's not going to go to, it's not going to drive too well and it's not going to run that long. So that's the way I look at food now as a result of people I've met on this platform.
Right. No, and I agree 100%. And it's interesting that you should talk about how you grew up because we grew up pretty much the same way. And I remember all the family gatherings, and it's amazing how eating or going out to dinner is such great socialization. And I just know for my mom, she's 91 years old. I mean, it's really an event for her. It is because we go out to dinner 4, if not 5 times a week. And when we don't, and we stay at home and I make something for her. Well, I've probably purchased something that I can heat up because it's not going to be good if I make it. But I mean, she really enjoys that socialization, and I think for the elderly, that is just sometimes they just reach the point where they want to socialize, but their opportunities for socialization are just so limited. I mean, like her, she has neuropathies in her feet. I don't know if you're familiar with what neuropathies are, but just for those that are watching and don't, it's all as a product of her having strokes. So that means that when she walks, she really can't feel the bottom of her feet. And so then that means her balance is off. And so, um, and then imagine as she's gotten into her 90s and you have the decline that's just a given as it is, and then the strength in her legs, yeah, I mean, it just kind of all withers away. And so my point is, I mean, she in her mind, she really wants to be social. She wants to go, she wants to do, and we do go and do as much as possible, but it's just the opportunities for her are limited. So we try to make eating together and eating out like a real big thing on the nights that we do. But and I don't think that a lot of people realize that that have elderly people in their family. Um, they think as long as they've been fed with a good hot meal that they're good, and they are, but they need someone to talk to because it's probably a big deal for them. So
I'm really
just a
glad that you
helpful
brought
heads
that
up.
up. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I do know older people who focus their days around eating. When's lunch? When's
Yeah.
dinner? When's lunch? When's dinner? Because again, to your point, it is an opportunity to be with other people and have a different experience than what they're having the rest of the day.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a shame, but it's like I said, sometimes it's like, what else do you have? And yesterday I took her to her neurologist, whom he's been her neurologist since 2010 when all of this started. And she was talking about, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to walk every day and I'm going to get stronger and I'm going to walk around the neighborhood. And it's like I'm listening to her, and really it makes my heart break because she used to be a big walker. She would walk 5 and 6 miles a day. And I know that she still sees it in her mind and in her memory and how good it made her feel. But I mean, it is a challenge just to get to the car. Um, and so um, you just have to pick and choose the socialization and the things that can uplift their spirits, but it's really very difficult because there's just so little really to offer them. um, and like for my biggest fear for my mom is, I mean, just to be completely transparent, if I was a betting person, it's not gonna be long before she's bedridden because she doesn't have the strength and she doesn't have the balance, and, um but, I mean, this is life, this is the circle of life, and so all we can do is just try to enjoy the days that we do have together and the time that we do have together, and because even though it's very difficult to get her to the car, she goes pretty much everywhere with me, and so at least she's out and about and not just stuck listening to the TV, um, and there's different people for her to interact with, but I wish I could wave my a magic wand and create things, but it's just sometimes it's just not there. I don't know.
It sounds like you're doing one heck of a job, Kathy Fulton. So you should be proud of yourself for taking such good care of your mother and for just giving her an opportunity to celebrate small wins. I mean, getting dressed, getting out of the house, getting in the car, whatever it is, you've given her that opportunity. And I believe it's extended her life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I totally agree, but in the same vein, I'm human, and so I lay in bed at night and think, I wish I would have done this different. I wish I would have done that different. I think like a lot of parents with small children or teenagers, those are probably the real hot button years. They lay in bed and think of, I wish this, I wish that. But I mean, all you can do is just try to focus on the change that you think that you can make the next day, the better person that you can be. Because oftentimes, and I think a lot of elderly people will say this to their family members, I don't know why I'm still here. I can't, and this is what my mom says all the time. I don't know why I'm still here. I miss my husband, I miss my parents, and I'm ready to go. And I always tell her, well, let's just do the math. Daddy passed in 2006, and you've had your bags packed. You've been in the departure lounge since right at 2007. You've been ready to go. You've been done. And there's a reason why you haven't left. And I think that there is still work for you to do on this earth. And a couple of weeks ago, it dawned on me because she made this statement again. I don't know why I'm still here. I'm not doing anything. I'm not helping anything. And to be perfectly honest, I think that it's to do a work in me, because being a caregiver, it's one thing to be a caregiver for someone that is not a family member because you don't have that history. I mean, she's known me for 57 years, and there's a lot of baggage, regardless of whether there's any cognitive impairment or not. They still know how they feel about you. They still have memories of the past. And so I, so then further to my point is when you are a caregiver and, it is your family member, um, it would be easier to lose your patience. It's easier to get worked up about things. And I can remember like maybe a year and a half ago, I would get really frustrated with her because I thought that she was doing things on purpose. And then it dawned on me, she just can't do it. She just doesn't, she just can't do this anymore. She just can't do this type of chore anymore. And so it takes, for me, what I've learned is I need the self reflection and I need to take a really good look at myself because I am bound and determined to get this right. So at the bottom line, what I've started telling her is this is a test for me, and it's a test to make me a much more patient person. And so I'm bound and determined to get it right. It's we all know how it is. I mean, life comes at us every day, and it's those things that you get blindsided with that they increase your level of stress, and then everything else around you is not just as you think that it should. And so then it's just like it's hard to manage. But I'm bound and determined that I have to get this right, and I really think it's about me. So and that one was not fun to look at myself and say. Now, I mean, I didn't get an email from God. I mean, but it's just those inward things that I do a lot of self reflection, and so That's what I think is going on in my household.
Well, thank you so much for your transparency. What you just shared, I know, is helping someone. You and I had a long conversation when we first met virtually, and we have a lot of things in common. And I can totally relate to what you're saying. I understand we're being tested all the time, and it is difficult to even ourselves as we age at our age to see that things are not as easy as they used to be. Like, for example, I used to run. You couldn't pay me to run. I mean, I maybe I'll get on a treadmill and do intervals, but I could run 8 miles, and now just like, I don't feel like it. My joints, it's just all of a sudden things just happen. And so
Right.
I love what you share because it's so real and it's so authentic. And again, if we are blessed enough to still be here, we will be in this situation that we're in, or else someone's going to be taking care of us. And we just have to hope
Right.
that they would have the same heart-centric way of handling the situation. We do have a couple of comments, and I'm noticing the show's already over. Hi, Adam.
Oh my
Nice to have
gosh.
you with us. Adam is a loyal follower. Thank you so much. And he's doing tremendous work helping people with their mental health. And he's actually going to be interviewed, I think, on Friday. So he writes humor. I just love this, as we at the Mental Health Warriors encourage people to bring humor into mental health. Absolutely. Thank you, Adam, for watching. Thank you for commenting. Kathy, we need to close up because we have our next
Already?
show, What's Trending. I know. So if you would give people an idea of how to contact you, we have your interior design information up, but do share how to get in touch with you for the home care.
Sure. It's basically the same phone number and the same email address. So feel free to give me a call, 703-895-3798. My email address is kathyfulton1965 @gmail.com. And the name of my home care agency is Stay at Home Care. And so the website address is stayathomecareva for Virginia.com. And hey, Adam, if you're still listening, and if you would like to be a guest on Aging Gracefully, I think we would probably love to have you. So there you have it.
Thanks, Kathy. And it's stayathomecareva.com.
Correct.
All
That's it.
right, just putting it out there for people to have it. Okay, and for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, it's Thursday mornings with Kathy Fulton. 3 shows in a row every Thursday. So we are going to
Counting.
sign off. Yeah. We're going to sign off now, and we'll come right back with what's trending. And who's our guest for today, Kathy?
Sharon Brown, and she is a representative with Legal Shield, and it is a subscription based company that provides you with all this access to attorneys at a really affordable rate. And I think she has an inordinate amount of knowledge that she's going to share with us, and I can't wait.
I'm excited too. I'm actually familiar with them. So this is going to be a great topic to really,
Oh, good.
for business owners, individuals who are interested in just learning more about what's out there. Please do join us right after this. We'll be back in less than 20 minutes. Stay wherever you are. We're going to go over to the other studio. So goodbye for now, everyone.
Bye.